familia, it's Alex. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. So today I have a very exciting video for you guys because I am collaborating with not just one, but two beautiful ladies here on YouTube. Today I am collaborating with the beautiful Katie Marie, which I have done a collab video with her in the past, as well as somebody new to me, and that is Amy from Dali Mama Beauty. So I am new to Amy's channel. I think that Katie has collabed with her in the past, and Amy reached out to both Katie and myself to see if we wanted to do this tag video. This is the eyeshadow palette lover tag. I think that I am correct. Let me check. Yeah, the eyeshadow palette lover tag. This was created by Angelica Learmar. I'm gonna put her obviously here down in the description box. Everyone will be in the description box for me. Amy is new to me, like I mentioned, so I am just getting to know her, getting to know her channel. She's also an eyeshadow palette lover, just like myself. She does a lot of content when it comes to eyeshadow. She has really great ideas when it comes to her channel, her videos. She's a lot of fun to watch. And you guys know that I have spoken about Katie for a while now here. She is the sweetest person you will know. I'm telling you, she's super kind. Her kids are amazing. She's one of those gems on this platform that needs to shine a little bit more. So I'm very excited because she's almost at 10,000 subscribers. Hopefully by the time this video goes up, she might be there. I don't know. So anyway, I will link everyone down in the description box. And today we have 10 questions about eyeshadow palettes. Of course, eyeshadow palettes are my jam. You guys know that. If you're new to my channel, welcome to la familia. My name is Alejandra. I'm an eyeshadow enthusiast with a dash of Project Pan. That is something that interests you. Subscribe. Join us. And now without further ado, let's get on with the 10 questions. So I'm a little bit distracted today, you guys, because my shirt is going to be riding up. That's why I rarely wear this shirt. And my jingles of earrings. So it couldn't be a video of mine without having some sort of distraction or some sort of goofiness going on. Welcome, you guys. It's just how we roll in this way. So let's start out with the first question. Like I mentioned, there are 10 questions. I will have everything down in the description box so you guys can check out everyone, check out the questions. If you're interested in doing this tag, consider yourself tagged on this, and it's all about eyeshadow palettes. Hello, my jam. So the first question that we have is a palette I regret that I did not purchase, and that is a palette that I had an opportunity 2 times to purchase, and I did not, and even until this day I kick myself in the rear end for not purchasing it. That is the Blush Tribe collab with Paulina Beauty. I know she says her name differently, Paulina. I like to say it the Spanish way, so I call her Paulina. She did a collab palette. I'll put it up on the screen so you guys can see it. And I had 2 opportunities to get it, and something held me back. I think it was more of the international shipping kind of thing, because I had purchased only 1 time from this brand and things came shattered and I never really got anything replaced. So I kind of just stopped, and I really wish I would have gotten this palette. It is such a beautiful palette. She showcases it here and there on her channel, and I still kick myself in the rear end for not getting that specific palette. So that is a palette that I say I regret I did not buy. Question number 2, a palette I regret buying, and that is something that I've shared in the past. That is the Profusion Festival palette, and it has nothing to do with the color story. It has nothing to do with the size of the palette. It has to do with the formula. These shimmers are very crumbly, and not all of them. That's the thing. This is not a consistent palette. Some of your mattes are better than others, and some of your shimmers are better than others. So it's like a playing hit or miss kind of thing with this. A legit palette bingo to figure out which one is good and which one is not. So for that reason, I regret purchasing. This is the only Profusion palette that I own, and that's the main reason why I have not purchased any going forward, is because I find that I have other formulas that are a lot better than this. The reason why I haven't decluttered it is because I still like the color story, and I'm sure it'll come up in other videos like it does with this one. So I keep it around, but I wouldn't recommend it for that reason. I just find so many other better palettes or singles that cost just as much or even less than this, and such better quality. So this is something I regret purchasing, even though I didn't break the bank. I didn't break the bank with that one. Number 3, a palette I haven't used as much as I thought I would, and that is this one. This is the Certified Tropical Wonders palette. I think I've only used this once on my channel, and I have used it here and there on my own. It's just that I don't know what it is. I think it's just because I have these colors so much over and over and over. and I like the quality. I don't love it, and I think that's one of the other reasons why. It's just a drier matte formula for me. It is pigmented, but you got to take your time when you use these because the blending can be a little bit patchy. So I feel like I have other ones that work a little bit better than this one. This is the only palette I purchased from Certify. I never once went back to try it again, just because I figured, you know what, I can find this quality here and not have to pay for international shipping, and in indie brands in general. Like I could find the same kind of formula in indie brands here and not have to pay extra for it, if that makes any sense. So this is the one that I thought I would use a lot more, but I actually did not end up using it as much as I thought I would. So a palette I used more than I thought I would. So the total opposite. One that I didn't think I would get a lot of use out of, and one that I have been, and that is the Tribe palette. This one surprised me. I have, since I purchased this last year, I think it's been about a year, I've used this multiple times. Out of all of my Juvia's Place palettes, this one and the Zulu palette are the ones I use the most, which surprises me. Well, it shouldn't surprise me because my favorite color is green anyway, but it's just such a pretty palette. It is your more acceptable palette. Like you can get away with this on a light, you know, on a colorful scale. This can be usable and not look like you're out there like my lip where it's super bold in your faces. This can be subdued if you really use a light hand. I just love the color story of this. These two greens get me. The packaging gets me. The color story, this one, it's such a surprise. And this matte is one of my favorites. I love this kind of poop green brown type of colors. I really love those. So this one surprised me that I use this the most out of the majority of my Juvia's Place palettes. All right, so my fave half neutral, half colorful palette. And before I share with you guys half neutral, half colorful, bear in mind everyone's perception of neutral and colorful is totally different. This is my perception because I could have picked multiple different palettes for this, obviously because I have so many palettes, but the point is that your neutral could be it could be something totally different from my neutral. Your colorful is different from my colorful. So for me, I feel like this is one of the neutral colorful palettes, and one that I actually use quite a bit, and that's the So Jaded palette. I know that I had a few people tell me that this is not neutral. Yes, it is. It is neutral to me. It is neutral in the sense that you have neutral, wearable, acceptable, you know, those traditional shades, but just a little bit bumped up, like this color, this color, this one, this one, this one. Like I could get away. You can use these colors in everyday wear and they don't have to look so stark like in the palette. This part is the colorful part for me, and this part is the neutral part. I've actually seen people rearrange this palette from lightest to darkest, or from light neutrals all the way to colorful, and you'd be surprised at how neutral this palette is. So for me, this is one of my favorite half neutral, half colorful palettes because I can get anything, any color combination that I want out of this palette. I could get a burgundy look, a green look, an orange look, a blue look, a purple look. I can even have glitter in here if I really want to. So I feel like this for me is one of my favorite half neutral, half colorful palettes. All right, a palette I bought for packaging. If you're new to my channel, just want to let you guys know, most of you guys that are here all the time know that I do not fall for packaging. I fall for packaging probably 3% of the time. Seriously, I do not buy a lot of things due to packaging. It's very, very rare for me. Packaging, as long as it closes, as long as it's not super bulky, as long as it keeps my makeup, whatever it is that it's containing inside, nice and secure, I'm good to go. I can care less about what the packaging looks like. You can give it to me in a cardboard box and as long as the product itself is working wonderfully, that's good for me. But not only have I fallen in love with this formula, the packaging draws me every time, and I know that I'm going to love everything that I buy from this brand, so it's kind of like a win-win for that. That's Menagerie Cosmetics. So I say this brand, anything that this brand, their packaging is just to die for. They put a lot of thought and effort into their packaging. Not saying that other brands don't, but it's just, it goes with their color stories. Look at that. It just, you know, if you look at this, you're going to get something similar out here. Another, like I'll just show you another example. You know what you get out here is what you're going to get in here. Like, do you see what I mean? And their packaging is so beautiful. My kids are always drawn to these palettes and I'm always like, no toque. Because these are my favorite type of eyeshadows. I love this brand and the packaging draws me every single time. A palette that I love the shimmers over the mattes. And I would have to say one brand, not so much palettes, but the whole brand as a whole, that's Juvia's Place. I love their shimmer metallics over their mattes. Their mattes are okay. They're a little bit more drying. This is just the Wahala palette. This is one of the most recent ones that I have. But their shimmer shades are just so good. And I think that's what has drawn everyone into this brand is their shimmer metallic shade. Their mattes are a little bit drier. You have to be careful with them because if you go on too strong, they can be patchy and hard to blend out because they're more of a drier formula. But in contrast, that helps with those that are beginners because you're not overdoing it if you start out slowly. So I prefer the shimmers over the mattes when it comes to Juvia's Place, and I love this brand. I really do. Now for the opposite, palettes that I love the mattes over the shimmer. And again, that is a whole brand of itself. Can I even talk today? That is a brand in its whole, in its entirety. Calmate, mija, calmate. Okay, so that brand for me would be Viseart. Viseart, their mattes are exceptional. I rave about their mattes. I have had multiple people purchase these palettes and told me, you're right, Alex, these blend like a dream. Their shimmers are more subdued, more subtle, more for mature skin. Those that don't like something super bright and bold on their eyes, but still want that nice sheen, like my mom who doesn't like anything metallic and foil because it accentuates her creases on her eyelids. She would benefit from their shimmers because they're a lot more softer, a lot more mature, for mature skin, I would say, like just like a highlight that doesn't accentuate your textures. That's how their shimmers are. But for me, I like something bold, bright, and in your face. Like, hello, I'm here to play. So for me, I say their mattes are 10 times better than their shimmers. I do own some of their shimmers because I do use them for brides and things. But for me personally, I like the bright and bold just like they do. So I prefer their mattes. Their mattes are amazing. If anybody would ask me what palette to purchase from Viseart, I would say one that's all matte because you will not be disappointed. I've only known one person that didn't like a Viseart and I couldn't tell you why, but I'm telling you, 99% of the people that have purchased from this brand that I've recommended have said, you're right, Alex. I don't have to do too much. They blend like a dream. They stay all day. They're amazing. So I would definitely say Viseart. All right, number 9, palettes that surprised me happily, or happily surprised me, I should say. So for that one was this. If you follow me for any length of time, you guys know that I have quite a bit of eyeshadow palettes. I have been in this game for a very, very long time. Even before YouTube existed, eyeshadows were my jam, have always been my jam. And I think it's because of my eye shape and the amount of space that I've always had. I've always loved to just play around with my eyes. If I had bigger lips, maybe it would have been a different story. But I think that because I have so much lid space and that whole angle I could do, I've always loved eyeshadow. So I've been in the game for a while. I've tried a lot of eyeshadow. And drugstore has never been something I've been drawn to because they've always disappointed me. And here this one came along and it surprised me in such a good way. I've spoken about this multiple times. It is such a good palette. This is the Maybelline Nudes of New York. If drugstore was like this across the board, I would be so happy to spend my money on them. But unfortunately, it's not. They're not all made the same. But this palette is beautiful. Everything about it, the mattes, the shimmers, there's not one dud in here. There's nothing that I would change about this palette. You can go cool tone, warm tone, shimmers, non-shimmers. You got a little bit of color, you don't got a little bit of color. You got some purple tones, you got some brown tones. You got everything in here that you would want in a small compact palette. I think this is great. This surprised me in such a good way, and so many people have purchased this and said the same thing. It's such a good palette. So this surprised me in an amazing way. Last but not least is a palette that was the most interesting color story to me. Okay, again, I have quite a bit of eyeshadow palettes. As I'm going through all of them, I have quite a bit that are interesting color stories. But this color story of this palette that I'm going to share with you guys, I don't have much of, because I can only use this in the wintertime and I gotta be in the mood for this. I have to be in the mood for it to use it. This is not a palette that I use all year round. If I were to put this palette on right now, it would look really bad on me because I'm so warm tone right now that my neutral tones would not be able to balance this out. I don't have them right now to balance this palette out. But this is such a beautiful color story. It blew me away. It impacted me in a good way. It impressed me in such a good way. I just love this palette and it is super unique to me. It's the most interesting and most unique one that I have that I can say throughout my whole entire collection, and that is the Nomad Tokyo palette. This is Pastels. Look at this. This is such a beautiful palette. I love this palette. I can't use all these shades on me right now. I'm going to show you, like, I'm just going to grab this. See how this is very white base? Let me just put it on my shoulder since I'm like half naked over here. See how that looks too white for my skin tone right now? That's just way too white. I can't use that right now. So I can only use this in the wintertime. And I take advantage in the wintertime, but right now I can't use this. So for me, this is super unique, super interesting. I do not have many pastels. I can't even tell. Even the ones that have been released this year, I haven't jumped on the bandwagon because I caught on real quick that I can't use them all year round. So there's no point of me buying these because I'm not attracted to these as much as I thought I was. But this one just drew me in and I love it. It is such an interesting color story. Very unique. You get these sparkle, dazzle, sparkle shadows that are so beautiful, you guys. Seriously, so beautiful. They're very dimensional. They look like nothing on my finger, but trust me, like I could see the blue and the purple in here. It's so beautiful. I love this palette. Very interesting. I enjoy it. It's one of my favorite color stories. It's just I gotta wear it when I'm at my natural state, not when I'm all up in here being J-Lo. Well, at least wanting to look like J-Lo, okay? So that is it, you guys. Those are the 10 questions. I will have everything linked down below as well. Thank you so much to Amy and Katie for collabing with me and asking me to join you guys on this collaboration. Don't forget to check out the ladies down in the description box. You guys are going to enjoy them. If you like my content, when it comes to eyeshadows, you're going to love them too. Who doesn't love a good eyeshadow palette? So thank you again for all of your support. I'll put more videos right over here for your enjoyment. Until then, bye guys.